It's about high time Jordan and I do a top five McFarlane figures. We've done several iterations of a top 10 type of list with Marvel Legends. It's time to show McFarlane some love. So let's do our top five McFarlane figures. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Strong Collectors Podcast. I'm your host, Dakota, here with my co-host, Jordan. And like I said, it's time for a top five Todd McFarlane action figures. I think we're going to be sticking pretty current action figures. We're not going back to old Spawn figures or old Todd
Like
stuff.
90s days?
Yeah, we're not going to the 90s, which I don't know if I don't have the nostalgia, which might bring some of those up into my top five that some people might, but we're going kind of current DC Multiverse. And I guess that's also, we're not doing like The Witcher and Warhammer. Those might be cool, but we're kind of sticking within the Spawn and DC Multiverse because that's mainly what we collect from Todd. So I think we've got a few honorable mentions that we like, but they couldn't quite crack the top five. So we'll have a total of 10 figures here. Jordan and I don't have any overlaps. So I'll go first because as I tend to, I usually have a few more in my category that I just feel so, I love them so much. I don't want to not mention them because they'll be disappointed in me if I don't. But the first one I have is one that hopefully everybody would have because it was so crazy cheap, is a Soul Crusher. So I think he's pretty cool, and maybe this is a little unfair, and this is going to kind of come up later too, because I think the munitions pack that Todd put out, I mean, maybe that could be in a top five because I think that enhances so many characters that it's important. Because I'm pretty sure I think this one came with him, but this like silence pistol thing came in the munitions pack, and I just think he's one of those characters that can use a lot of those weapons. I like the hood. I like the gas mask. I just think he's a cool character. He's actually going to be coming into Call of Duty pretty soon, so maybe we'll do another episode on that once that's actually out. But yeah, he was one that I thought deserved to be in maybe in my top. He's definitely my top 10, not quite my top five. Jordan, you had a runner-up, right?
Yes, I do. So, for the longest time, we were getting those Mortal Kombat spawns, and you got the variations of spawns, and I've wanted just a straight up classic, like first appearance spawn, which I know some people will say this one's pretty much there, but it is the one he did. I think, what do they call it? Shadow of Spawn, something like that.
Yeah.
Kind of the more classic looking one. He's still got the boot, which he actually doesn't have in those first issues. So maybe that's a nitpick, but I still want my bootless Spawn. I think the colors are a little more muted on this one too. So not quite there, but I like this over what I had before, which was the Mortal Kombat one that had the more like, I don't know, muscly, kind of like, which
Much
has
more
its
of like
own.
a symbiote look, the old one.
Yes, exactly. So I like this one. I thought it was cool that he added like the chains that you can like wrap around. I think it's definitely my favorite Spawn that I have, or that I've seen so far.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting on my Spawn with his big accessory cape. I know you've told me I probably just need to get a custom one, and then I'll be a little happier. But I'm still waiting on my mind's eye Spawn. But this one gets pretty close, and for that, I give him an honorable mention in my top five.
Okay, that you reminded me of another honorable mention I have is the 2-pack Spawn that just came out with Batman. So again, not quite your classic look, but it's, I think, using the same type of body that came with the Throne Spawn.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think this was munitions. I think this came with She Spawn, but just using other weapons from other characters helps pick him up because he came with the sword.
Right? Yeah.
I don't really know Spawn to use swords yet in my readings. He's always going after like the bigger weapons, like cannons and giant crazy guns with 4 magazines coming out of it. And I think that Batman is actually pretty cool too. I don't love the head sculpt. I wanted to do a head swap with this Batman. You can watch our shorts to kind of see that those heads don't line up. They're not the same. But it's good spawn. I really like that cape. My actual, I got 2 more runner-ups, technically 3, but one's kind of a 2 for 1.
So Jordan has a top 5. Dakota has a top 10.
Just about. So I really like these animated Batman and Supermans, but they're not in my top 5 because they're just kind of statues, like with the skinny legs and the upper torsos that are so huge. I mean, you can kind of get them in dynamic poses, but they just kind of look better as standing there. That's kind of how I grew up watching the cartoons. I like that style of them, but like I said, they don't do much. So speaking of can't do much, a figure that honestly could be my number 1 if it didn't make me so angry is Violator. Now, I probably just need to get some like the like stuff you put in the joints to kind of make them a little bit more sturdy. But 100% of the time when I put him on the shelf, he dives off and takes a few others with him. He's super top heavy.
He's a little bit of a liability to have in your displays.
Right. So I've actually tried selling him a couple times. He's not worth a ton. So I'm like, he's too cool of a character to like give such a cheap price on. Because I think he was 50 when he came out, which I think is totally fair. Like this thing is 30 pounds heavy. Tons of details, super cool, but his dang ankles will not let him stand. So could have been my number 1. Honestly, could have been my number 1, but alas, no such luck. All right, Jordan, your number 5, getting into the actual top 5 McFarlane figures, is
my number 5 is actually a very recent release that I just got. What's it gonna be? It is my Action Comics number 1 Superman.
Really?
Now,
all right.
I okay. So first of all, this is it was rare for me because as soon as I saw him, I did the pre-order, which we've talked before about this, that most McFarlane's and usually Legends go on retail or discount at some point. But I really like the look of this one. I thought it was really cool. I know there's the platinum one that has like the red.
Would you even keep that one?
The platinum one?
Yeah.
I don't think so, because more than the red boots for me, I like the logo on this one.
Okay.
Because the logo is a little different on the platinum one. Okay. But this logo is how it looks in the first comic, which, speaking of that, I like that it came with this. I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah. Because I usually don't do anything with the cards, but since this one has like kind of a cool holder, I think it would. I haven't really figured out how I want to display it, but I think this looks nice, like with the picture, and the figure. I like the head sculpt that he kind of embraced that sort of cheesy strongman look, where it obviously when he was created, Superman is supposed to look like over the top, a little ridiculous. So. Sure. To the criticisms of the head sculpt, I think he nailed it. And I just think it's a cool thing to do, like a variation that's not like a first appearance. And I think it gives me hope that hopefully we'll see a first appearance Batman. I think that'd be really cool.
I would bet.
But I just think this is a unique one to have in the collection. And I like them a lot. So yeah. He also came with a flight stand, which was nice.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Very cool. I'm surprised. I wasn't expecting to see him on your list. All right. Well, my number 5, not nearly as recent, but I really like Lobo. So I like that he came with the chain, the main man, hook, the main man.
Main man himself.
I love the back of his jacket.
Bite me, fanboy.
Bite me, fanboy. I mean, yeah, this is like, I'm sure Todd loved making this. He's got all the spikes on his jacket and his boots and knee pads and skulls for knee pads and his belt.
Chains.
this is
It's like,
Todd had to have all the fun with this guy. So
yeah.
I don't know. I haven't displayed him for a little while just because I've got so many other cool things to display. But
Mm-hmm.
I thought I had some cool like light box pictures with him. I'll put those in
Yeah.
here. But yeah, I really like how the chain kind of like wraps down around his hand. I thought that was kind of a cool touch instead of just having like a full on chain.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. Not a ton to say on Lobo. I thought he was really cool in the comic, or not the comics, in the cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
So always liked him.
Yeah. And that to me seems more like what you envision as like a classic
Yeah.
ish look for Lobo, right? It's not
I
like,
mean, it's not like Todd put out kind of a weird, like
yeah, well,
the,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's usually
mhm,
like you said, or we've said before, it's like almost there, not quite. Like
right.
that seems like a pretty. If you think of Lobo, that's probably
Hmm.
what you're gonna think of.
I think
So
the animated series maybe has him a little bit more like
yeah, a little
larger on the top, but I guess that's
bulkier.
the same with like Superman and Batman. Like they're huge on the top with tiny little legs. But yeah, I mean, this as far as Lobos go, I mean, maybe he'll put out a. I could actually see that being like a 2-pack in the future of a Lobo and his bike, and
Yeah.
then maybe I'm gonna have to buy that. But anyway, what is your number 4, Jordan?
So my number 4 is actually going to be the Swamp Thing.
Yeah,
This was, I think, the first deluxe, or
yeah,
not deluxe. What, mega figure? Is that what they
mm-hmm,
call them? Mega figure.
yeah,
First mega figure I got from McFarlane. I bought him full price at retail again because I saw him in the store and was like, "Dang, that's
same.
really cool." Um, I think just the detail is so cool. Like, if you have this one, you've probably looked at it, but just the sculpting I think is neat. I like the way that even on like the shoulder joints, like he
Mm,
sculpted it so that those kind of are hidden by like the moss and all that stuff.
mm-hmm.
I like that it came with sort of the hook or whatever you want to call that,
Spiky hand,
claw,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
spike hand, something like that. Um, the only reason why maybe he's not higher, and I get it, but it's kind of similar to the Violator. I always kind of struggle to like get him to stay where I want him to stay,
Same.
and he does have the like a base that you can put on him, but doesn't
It
really seem to
doesn't
help very
doesn't
much.
help.
So
No, he's too big.
he doesn't want to don't follow your directions. But I remember thinking, I mean, I don't know how much he goes for now, but even at the time, what were these 40?
Yeah.
Which
I
I
mean, I
mean,
think that's totally a fair price, but yeah, I think he went
pretty
on 50% off.
yeah.
And
So if you could get him for cheaper,
yeah.
absolutely. Um, but I think it's I don't know. It's just it's more like when we talk about legends or even like your Giant Man. Like it'd be cool to have more stuff in this scale where it's not
Mm-hmm.
like huge, but it's
Right.
bigger and it's not like a crazy price point. Like really, if you think about
Yeah.
it, this is twice as much as a regular McFarlane.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty good value, and I think he's a really cool one to have in the collection.
So what
So
about the new one that the like bioluminescent 2 head
yeah,
sculpts?
I don't know. I kind of I'm pretty happy with what I have.
Okay.
I know there was what the horned one,
Right.
the gray one, and then the artist proof, and then like the glow in the darkish one.
Yep.
But I don't know. I'm waiting for the Joker eyes Swamp Thing.
Yeah. All right.
But I'm pretty happy with them, so I like them.
Cool. All right. I I would be surprised if anyone else has this in their top 5 or even top 10. And honestly, I've
I'm
never read a
surprised
book.
I do.
I've never read a book where he looks like this, but I really like this Asriel. So this was, I think, one of the
Yeah.
first 2 I got, which, and maybe
Mhm.
that's partially why I'm a little bit, I bump him up. But this is another like super cheap figure. Like, I mean, people probably were getting him for $5.
Mhm.
He was on shelves forever. I like the flaming sword. I think the cape is pretty unique, kind of like a Mr. Sinister cape, but
Mhm.
um,
I mean, that one looks pretty well detailed. I mean,
oh
as
yeah.
far as like the armor, and
I
that's
mean,
a
I
cool
even like the
sword.
legs, like I mean, it's just
Yeah.
white painted legs, but it
Mhm.
makes it look like he's wearing tights. Um, this the hood, I like the, because I think in Marvel, doesn't Spider-Man kind of have a look similar to this? Um, it's like a
Oh,
crossover
with Moon Knight. He's like the Spider Knight or whatever. Is that what you're
yeah,
talking about?
yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
would
could
like
see
a
that.
Marvel Legend of that. But yeah, I always like kind of this like Templar look, and then
Well,
I
do I dare say this may have been like the primer that it scratched the Legion's itch for
it
you?
really
He kind of
did.
has that Knight look, and then once you saw the Legions, you're like, whoa,
100%. Yeah,
you
this
could
was
almost fit him in with that. I don't know if you ever,
yeah.
maybe, maybe not, but
He's a little
he looks
big, but yeah.
very, very, yeah, Templar Knight ish.
hmm
So
No, I think that's 100% why I got him was because I got him before I did any Mythic Legions collecting. But yeah, he was in that like armored up vein, and yeah, cool figure.
very cool.
And I like I said,
I don't think that's a crazy one to have in your top. I think
okay,
that one's pretty cool. I mean, I guess I don't see him talked about a lot, but
right.
I guess for me, it's sort of rare to have those, like, even as far as McFarlane's go. Like even with Legends, we have like, oh, that one's worth like
hmm
crazy amount. That's kind of the cool thing about McFarlane's. Even going over this list, like most of these you could get pretty easily. I think if you
Yeah.
really wanted them.
You could
So
spend $50 and have all of my top five.
right, yeah.
Not quite, but yeah,
So
pretty close, honestly. $50 will get you my top four, I bet. Maybe
yeah,
less, like less
maybe.
money.
Well, the next one. Well, we'll get into the. I
Yeah.
guess maybe the next one then. So this
Who's
is
your top?
my
Who's your number three, Jordan?
number 3 coming in. So
Number
this
three, my
one, yeah,
lord. Pick number three.
is the Platinum Mr. Freeze from last year.
Yeah, I
Was it
think
earlier?
it seems like you've had him for a while.
Yeah. I did. This is another one that he went up and then sold out, and then I was watching my phone like a hawk for a few days because I heard that he'd be going up again. So I got him right from the McFarlane store. My main thing I really like is the color scheme on
hmm
this one. I think it was fun to see Todd doing like more of that retro, obviously retro style. I think it was, in more of those, an homage to those older figures. You can pop the helmet off and like turn his head, which I think is cool because, it gives him a little more stuff to do.
hmm
Um, the one thing that I've had a hard time, not a hard, I've had a hard time with this. My life's not easy. But the freeze gun, it's that just sounded so funny to say. I have a hard time. I have a hard time with this freeze gun. But no, it's just like this. You can't like port that on and off, which is kind of a bummer
hmm
because he's got to always be freezing somebody. I think it'd be cool if he didn't
I
have to.
I swear I have seen reviews where they take that off of there, but I know you've tried heating it up
I
and
don't
pull
know,
it. I'm
dude.
not saying
I've
don't snap it on camera here, but
lied on air. So there's that, and then there's no alternate hands,
Hmm.
which I know Todd doesn't usually do tons of alternate hands, so I get that. But it would have been nice to maybe be able to. But I don't know.
Mhm.
It's really that doesn't really matter to me actually. Now that I think about it, the only thing I would have liked is this to port on and off. Which if it does, comment and tell me it does so that I can finally be at peace with this Mr. Freeze. But um, I like him quite a bit. I don't know. He might be harder to get now though. I'm not sure
Maybe.
though.
I don't know.
So he's cool
Yeah,
if you're
and
thinking
yeah,
about it.
I think he's probably the McFarlane that you've brought up most on this show. I think he's made at least 5 or 10 appearances of you pulling him out, be like, "This Mr. Fear, he's
He's
pretty
cool.
awesome. I
He's
love him."
cool. He's cool.
And
I
he's kind
like
of the
him
one
quite a
that
bit.
got you like back excited for McFarlane's
Right.
right now.
I was a little lukewarm for a while. See what's there? Lukewarm. And then
So
you'd want to be more hot.
yeah.
He made me cold. I don't know. Maybe the wordplay doesn't work there, but I like him. If you can get your hands on him, I think he's a nice addition to the collection. So
Yeah. All right. My number three. Again, this one I think you could have got for $2 pretty recently. I love the Raven Spawn. So I've read a couple issues with him in it now. Like he's in some of the current Spawn books. And I don't know what it is, but I just remember like he was one of the first Spawn figures I'd gotten. He's also
yeah,
in
I
the
feel like
first
you got
wave, so
him
that
pretty
makes
early
sense.
on. I remember that.
But I just remember having him like on display and just he would, you know, how a collector does before they go to bed, they like to take one last look at their collection and then
Man, these
drift
are
off.
cool.
So I am not immune to that. I would go in and look at my collection and just
Guy's just standing in his undies in his toy room, like, yeah, honey.
I'm a man.
Isn't that a
Yeah.
SpongeBob? He's staring out the window. He's like, coming to bed, honey? Yes, dear.
So I would often find myself honed in on Raven Spawn, just like, dang, these details. Like he's not even got that much
Yeah.
paint on him. Like it's a
Can you hold
brownish
him up again?
figure
Let me see
with
it.
kind of a
Yeah, I
darker
mean, I
cape.
think that's cool. I mean, the sculpt, even like his little like belt thing, is like a skull, and again, like you said, Todd, he's got his capes, his spikes, his
And it
chains,
comes with the
little axe there.
So yeah, I mean, I would just have him kind of,
Yeah.
just
Again,
and
though, kind of that night undead look, you know?
yeah, true.
I mean, you could pose him probably fighting your Azrael, and that would look cool. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've ever done that, but
No, I don't think I've ever had him
combo.
fighting. I kind of have like they're usually in a display
You're
of like
not doing a
themselves.
multiverse thing.
Yeah.
Kind of about that.
So I don't know. I didn't know anything about the character until recently, and even still, I don't really know that much about him. He just kind of shows up once in a while. But yeah, Ravenspawn was cool. They did a second one of him. I was like, do I need two? Because I love the first one so much, but I think it's just I think maybe his spikes are spikier and his axe is a little axier. So you've got a few options on getting your Ravenspawn, which is a weird one to do multiples of because he's not that popular in the comics right now. Maybe back when he came out, he was something. But anyway, I love me some Ravenspawn. Jordan, top 2.
So I have, is this one of the only figures that I have both loose and in box still?
Oh,
so that's unique for me, really, in any line. But right behind me here, you can see a little bit the good old, this might be controversial, the year 2 Batman.
Yeah.
Now, it's controversial because I know I'm going to explain it. Don't worry. So of course there was the arm fiasco, right?
Right.
Couldn't port them off, couldn't port them on. They kept breaking, whatever.
Whatever.
Babies. So yes, my arm did break on mine. My wife actually was the one who, my wife, Sam. She was the one who actually, I think, texted me while I was at work because we were spending all day trying to get the arms on and off, and she managed to get the arms in. And I decided from then on, I'm just going to leave them with the arms in.
Yeah.
Because like the bicep popped off, but it slides back in and bada bing, bada boom, works out.
Okay.
So yeah, I remember we were really stoked for this when it was announced. And I do give Todd credit for the ambition of it because I do think it's cool, like the big old cape. Even the way it looks in box, I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
If you want to keep it like that. I don't know. We'll see what happens. That might just stay in the box forever. But I love my cloth capes, and I thought it was a pretty cool cloth cape. I like that he did a little bit of a diorama there. I like if the arm issue was non-existent, it would maybe be like a top all-timer for me, I think.
Yeah. I think that would be the case. I think you're wild for putting this on your top 5 because of the arm fiasco, and I think people are going to let you know about it in the comments. But I think if there wasn't the arm issue, this figure would have done so much better. Like people, because I also had one loose and in box, and then I actually liked the sculpted cape more. So I think I tested the arms out to make sure that they weren't broken, because my first one, it did break, but luckily I think they were still in stock at Target, so I was able to return it, get another one, and then it was fine. I don't know about the inbox one. The inbox one might have been trash. But yeah, I think people would agree with you so much more if the arms weren't exploding. And even Todd himself on this podcast said call customer service and we'll get you some new arms.
Give you a replacement.
One of them got out in which the engineering of those arms were just wrong, right? The factory was aware. When I caught it, I went like, I go, guys, what's happening? And they're like, oh, they took the wrong connector or something. But here's the problem. Sometimes by any time anybody catches it, X percentage have already been shipped, right? And so if you got some of the early stuff, because if you got one of the ones of the Batman Year 2 on the back end, it didn't do the same thing, right? You could have two of them, and one was like, how come this one works and this one doesn't? The simple answer, because that one they made a month earlier and that one they made a month later, right? And they sort of did it.
So I think, I was super excited about the idea. And then my first Batman, this is my second, my first one came out, arm exploded. Quick was able to get another one while it was still in stock. Yeah. And this one is safe.
No, I told him, I go, make some more, either shipped, I think even to customer service. I think we actually made a bunch of the arms that have the right sort of connectors and stuff. So maybe if you phone customer service, they'll ship you some of the arms. Go, here, pop these ones in. These should go in tighter.
There's no way they've made extra arms, but
yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just there's also I'm a sucker for nostalgia too. So it's like we ordered that. When we ordered that was when we were getting started here and talking to Todd. So maybe I'm too wrapped up in that experience. But I mean, I really do think there is a part of even these top lists that it's hard to separate, like your connection to a toy, like seriously, like your experience with it versus like you're like the Raven Spawn. There's probably a bunch of people that might be like, yeah, that's like a dime a dozen, whatever. But I think it's cool to be like, well, this toy, even though maybe like technically it's not perfect, like I think it's really cool and means a lot to me. So
stay tuned for upcoming episodes, because I do want to do like a action figures we'll never get rid of, for that reason of like, this holds maybe no value, but the sentimental value is too strong for me to ever see this figure outside of my collection.
Yeah, and maybe part of it is like I'm never going to be able to sell my busted Year 2 Batman, so I'm stuck with him.
Yeah, but he's still in your top 5.
I had to learn to love him.
Yeah.
But no, I'll probably get him out soon and do. I would almost like to do like a Halloween type display with him. I think that would look cool with like the graveyard and put some spooky characters in there maybe.
And it fits well being your number 2 figure as a Year 2 Batman.
Wow.
Whoa.
It's like I planned it.
All right. My number 2 is also Batman, but mine is Flashpoint Batman. So I think this might be actually my very first McFarlane figure that I ever got. I think it was maybe this one and Azrael I might have got at the same time, or maybe I think my mom was working at Walmart at the time and she picked up the Azrael. I don't remember. But this was one that I had on display for super long time, probably until I got Legions that kind of bumped him off the shelf. But he comes with the holsters that actually comes with pistols, which not going to get a re-release. Those pistols are in there. God, you're not going to get those again. McFarlane's done, or at least DC Multiverse is done doing weapons like that. But you can always get the
munitions pack, right?
Yep. But yeah, I thought this one was cool. I think he's maybe the most valuable one on my list.
I say, do you know what he's at or no?
I feel like in a while.
He is kind of sought after just for that. I know people like that storyline, but also the thing that you were saying, just the fact that he comes with the weapons.
So. Right. So, because I know that Red Hood is also, it's similar where he has re-releases, but they were re-released after they stopped doing the weapons with him. So yeah, I did like the Flashpoint story, or at least I got it, and like that was kind of an earlier, like buying the full issue and then like the tie-ins and stuff like that. I liked the idea of the character too, being Thomas Wayne and Martha's Joker and all that. So I think he's cool. I like the design. Good figure. Comes with his weapons, but you could also get the munitions pack, give him some more weapons. Is he doesn't ever show up in the new Flashpoint movie, does he?
The Flash movie?
Yeah, or the Flash. Yeah. Isn't that supposed to be kind of Flashpointy?
Yeah, Flash. Oh, like the live action Flash movie?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of the fans were like, that would have been cool, because everyone thought because I don't know if you remember in Batman vs Superman in the beginning, Jeffrey Dean Morgan plays Thomas Wayne, who, if you compare, like, he probably would have played an awesome Thomas Wayne Batman. So
missed opportunity. I still haven't seen the Flash movie yet, so I'm gonna wait until it's out on HBO for, I think Savannah said like 60 days, and then the actors don't get paid for it. I'm not giving Ezra Miller any more money.
doesn't want to support Ezra Miller.
No.
All right. Here
Number one, baby.
Number one. Okay. Don't get mad at me and say that I'm cheating for this one, but you may have noticed behind me, Dakota, I have a rather large addition to my collection. I'm going to slowly grab it here. And it is none other than the 89. Let's see if I can do this without knocking anything over. The 89 Batmobile.
Yeah.
2-pack with, can't even grip it in one hand. With,
that's what she said.
Yeah, I wish. With the Michael Keaton 89 Batman, which, you know, I've been talking about this one for a while. I've been holding out my hopes. I didn't get the Flash version of the Batmobile because I said there's got to be a legit one and or a Michael Keaton Batman coming.
Right.
So first off, right off the bat, I mean, I know you, for the value, I thought $80 is pretty fair to get a vehicle of this size. Check this out, dude. If you don't want it after this, you're crazy. Look at that. Canopy slides and opens up, and it's the right color. I just think it's really cool.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. I think I was on the fence as to whether I should get, well, not whether I should get this one, but I was like, do I have the space? But, you know, whatever. I made space for it, and I'm going to continue to have space for it because I think it's pretty awesome. And as far as the Batman goes, I think he's pretty cool too. I actually am more impressed by the cloth cape than I thought I'd be.
Good.
It's not too bad. It's obviously not like a wired one or anything.
Not like the year 2 Batman cape, a little thinner.
Yeah, a little thinner, but I think it works. I know people were like, because the whole thing about 89 Batman is like, you can't move his head, but
right,
that sometimes doesn't really work as a toy, I think, necessarily. So you can turn his head, which is cool.
That's not canon.
That's not canon, but it's definitely an improvement over my NECA one that I bought and immediately snapped the leg off of, unfortunately. I know some people are saying the 6-pack, so it'll be interesting to see. I'd almost want to revisit this when I get the Batman 6-pack because I hope that I'm going to like a lot of those. I think his coloring is supposed to be more like yellow rather than gold in that pack.
Okay.
But I've also seen an issue where he's kind of, have you seen that? Where it's like he's like greenish rather than black.
Weird.
So some people are trying to get returns. But unless you got it through the McFarlane store, I guess they're not honoring returns. So,
okay.
Or like replacements, like,
sure,
you know, whatever. So
and you have a 6-pack coming from who?
I have an Amazon and I did a backup Target.
Okay.
Because, you know, I know Amazon actually has canceled on me before.
Yeah. Because you're supposed to get the other Batmobile.
Bane. I was going to get that one and then got canceled. I think they canceled a Bane when I tried to get that. I don't remember. But yeah, so we'll see which one. Initially, Amazon kept bumping up their dates to like, technically I should have had it like 2 weeks ago. And now it's been bumped back to like the same as Target, which is like first week in October. So
okay,
we'll see.
All right.
But yeah, I like that one quite a bit. It gives me hope that I'll get to see a new version of my 89 Alfred.
Yeah.
Because now he's a little tall.
Okay.
Or not a little tall. I don't know. It scales pretty well, actually, but I like this Alfred quite a bit. So I think he looks good with that Batman.
That is cool.
And yeah, I think he's fun. So it doesn't seem like this one has gone too crazy. It was like 80, which I thought was pretty fair for a figure in the Batmobile. It's not like, I don't know. Do you think they'll redo it later? Re-release, maybe?
I would doubt they're going to re-release it. I think this was kind of that re-release of the Flash movie one. So I
Mhm.
think, I mean, I could definitely see him doing more Batmobiles like this. I just don't think you're going to get another 89 Batmobile.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe we would see a full-sized The Batman, like Robert Pattinson Batmobile, or
I will buy
the
that.
Dark Knight type of like
Tumbler?
tank. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
I don't know.
that's
Maybe you're gonna get more Batmobiles, but not that's you got your best one right there, buddy.
so
And
maybe I'm just riding high on just getting that one like
yeah,
the other day. But I think it's really cool. And
it's
I'm
substantial.
very happy to have it. Is substantial. So I'm
You
glad to have
I
it.
asked you, but I don't remember. Did you try to put him inside the
I
Batmobile
haven't
yet?
tried to do it. What I think I might do if I want to do that is put my busted NECA one in there.
Okay.
Because I don't know. His like I feel weird like cramming him. I don't know. I think
Yeah.
the NECA one would get in there a little easier.
Okay.
And he's already broken, so there you go.
Right.
And he has that more like
Straight ahead look.
straight ahead look that I'm never gonna display him otherwise. So we'll see.
Okay. And you just snap the other leg off if he's too long.
Yeah, there you go. Get in there, Batman.
All right.
All right. Dakota, number one. I don't
Interestingly
know what this is gonna
enough, we didn't plan this. You've had your number one in the background of your show. I've had my number one in the background of all of my shows since I've been in here, I think. And that's Gunslinger Spawn.
be. All right.
So this is one that I don't know if this was my first McFarlane. It was for sure my first Spawn. And this is the reason I read Spawn, the reason I pretty much know who Todd McFarlane is.
The reason you do what you do, really.
And again, this is another one that is enhanced by the munitions packs. I've got him kind of with a shotgun here, and then I would usually have him with the long pistol too, but it fell out of his hand. But then he's got his 2 revolvers on his holsters, and he's got the rifle on the back. I like this one the best because there's, I mean, this has got to be the most made Spawn now, because you've got this one, you've got the Gatling gun, you've got the horse Spawn.
This was the original one, though, right?
This was the original. This was the one that caused the craze. This was the Target exclusive. Jordan had his drama with the trade with it.
I had a very successful trade with it too.
And you had a very successful trade too. But and I assume we're going to be getting another Spawn or another Gunslinger Spawn with a different, because he kind of has changed his like chest and eye mask type thing. It's different because he doesn't want to look like Spawn anymore.
He's got to change his look every few issues for more toys.
Which as soon as he did that whole switcheroo, I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get another Gunslinger Spawn. But this one is super cool. I actually like the Gunslinger Spawn comics too. I know you didn't quite get into them, Jordan.
I read the first issue and then I was like, this is,
the first issue was a little convoluted.
Not my thing.
Yeah. But since the first issue, I don't remember how many we're into it now, 20 something maybe. Pretty good. The only storylines I get currently now are Spawn. So, and it's because of this. I would not have gotten the comics if I hadn't got the character. I saw him on the shelves. Did I see him on the shelves? No, I think I saw in the groups that he was going crazy. And I was like, oh, cool. Because this was towards the beginning of us getting back into collecting. And I was like, okay, if I can find that Gunslinger Spawn at retail, I can trade him for something that I don't have Legends wise. And I think I did that. But then after I did, I was like, oh, dang. That Spawn was actually kind of cool. Because I think the person I traded with said I could send him loose. So if that guy hadn't said I could send him loose, I may not care, because once I got him out, I was like, oh, these spikes, the bullets, the boots, the hat, this is cool. And then I had to get another one for myself.
Here we are.
And here we are. 2 years later, and he's number one.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
May not be in everybody's. I don't know. I think that one's a little bit more realistic in the realm of cool McFarlane toys. I think my Flashpoint Batman is probably the most in most people's top fives.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, Gunslinger Spawn now is pretty cheap compared to when we first were getting them. They were 50 to plus, and now he's probably, this one's maybe retail since it's a little harder to get, but there's so many of them. So Gunslinger Spawn, I'd recommend. And read the books. Don't listen to Jordan. I think they're good. Maybe get the volumes, don't get the single issues, but
All right.
And I actually got I think it was the horse one, but there was a McFarlane toy store deal where if you got so many, like $50 worth of toys, you could put in the code to get the Gunslinger toy variant cover of the comic. So I got that one too. I was gonna try to have Todd sign it at Comic-Con, but he
ghosted us.
But yeah, that's our top five.
We know you're watching, so come back on the show.
Maybe we have Todd back on the show to do his top 5.
Oh,
I've another one that like I don't have, but I really would like to get is the dragon, the McFarlane dragon, because he like revealed that on our show. So I have like that, like, oh, I gotta get that. That was like our first ever toy reveal.
We we're running into it right now with how do we solve. I'll show you something I shouldn't. Don't tell anybody.
All right.
We haven't announced it, but anyway, so I'm only going to show you a little bit.
All right.
Like we're doing some dragons, right?
Nice.
So the question is, how do you get these big wings? How do you get these big wings in the package?
Right.
So do you put them on? And make a bigger box so you can get it all, or do you put it in a tighter box but you have to assemble wings?
Sure.
Right? But if they don't have the wings and if they don't look good, then people aren't going to buy it. So you're torturing yourself all the time.
Right.
Like, how does this work? Do we want to sell it at retail or don't we? It's a box of limitation, blah, 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 blah. So anytime you have these added pieces, it becomes its own conversation.
I don't know. I don't have the space for it, and we're about to move. So I'm like, maybe I'll find it in the future. So
someday.
What do you think, Jordan? Top 5s? You surprised
like
by anything on
both our
list?
lists are different.
Yeah.
I mean, neither of us really knew until we were getting ready for this any idea what. Well, maybe we had some idea. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't know what yours were going to be. So, I like that they were both different, unique picks. I think I'm curious to see. This is another one that I would like to do an update of later.
Yeah.
Also,
do a year from now, see if we're still the same.
Yeah.
Because there are some good McFarlanes coming out.
Yeah.
And
I should have thought of that Riddler. I do like that new Riddler. Maybe he would have been my second honorable mention.
Okay.
So
because you have, and once you get that 5-pack of Batmans in, I could see something there creeping up.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Isn't when is his Steel coming out?
Yeah, I was gonna say Steel would be cool, but also
I got the Mayfex Steel.
I got the Mayfex because that Azrael Batman, the Walmart exclusive one, was pretty cool, but it doesn't hold a candle to Mayfex, so it had to go. And that's kind of where I'm wondering about, because I don't know. I probably should get the McFarlane Steel because that one will never be that expensive. I don't think. Maybe it will be, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
The Mayfex one is probably going to go up in price, and once it hits a certain price, I'm probably going to be like, you know what, I should probably sell this and buy 10 more action figures with the money I can get from it. So I'll check that one out. I think I would like to get an in-hand Doomsday. I just don't want to pay for that Superman.
I just want the real Doomsday.
It looks cool. It looks huge. It's spiky, substantial. I think it's got potential, but there is supposed to be another one coming. I think, wasn't there a containment suit one?
I hope so.
So we'll see there. I've got Blue Beetle's over here. Was this the same episode where I was scatting at the beginning?
I think you were scatting earlier.
Anyway, Blue Beetle's over here. I'd like
Beetle.
I'd like to open him and see what he's like. I've got Ghostmaker. I think he's got a chance.
Open him up.
Maybe I'll do a short and just scat the whole time instead of have music playing over it. It's just me singing. Blue Beetle. Bow. I feel like this fits more into our post-credit scene.
I was gonna say this is going on too long.
All right, let us know what your top 5 McFarlane figures are. You can keep
Who has
it with
a better
them.
list? That's what I want to know.
Okay. Who's got a better list? I think that you would have to have the
I think
Or-
I took some big swings on mine, so I
Yeah.
wouldn't be shocked if people tell me that I'm nuts. But
I think you've got a lot of fan favorites in your list. I think I've got a lot of bargain bin.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see though. Let us know in the comments what's on your list and whose list is better, mine or Jordan's. All right,
mine. Jordan's.
I knew what I was doing.
I know, that's good.
Like, share,
Right.
subscribe, and stay strong.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I guess the thing with McFarlane's is like, usually, for me, it's usually like you get what you expect, you know? Like, very rarely do I get something that's like, whoa,
Blowing you.
that's not, yeah.
Blowing you out of the water. I should have finished my statement.
Very rarely do my McFarlane's end up blowing me. Todd, we got to get him back, man. He's got to come back.
He might. I don't know.
I just still cannot believe that we interviewed him. Like, that's still like, when I think about it, it's like, that's kind of nuts.
Oh, yeah.
That he agreed.
Yeah.
We literally, I mean, can you see how many subscribers we had at that time?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we had like 50. Because, okay, let me look and see when he was. It's a long stretch of nobody caring.
Those were the dark, lonely days. Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
No. Man.
8, 9,
9,
10, 11, 12, 13.
When did you say May
14,
30th?
15. Oh. 16, 17. 18.
Oh my gosh. So when we interviewed Todd McFarlane, we had 18 subscribers.
Maybe. I mean, if that's like, maybe I missed a day in there or something, but yeah.
We probably had 20 or fewer subscribers, right?
Yeah.
Like a max of 20.